Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad to have you checking out what I am up to today. If you are new here, my name is Yvonne and you have landed on Ginger Chick Rehab, where I love to go hunting in the wild looking for treasures that I can not only add into my own home as home decor, but that I can make over into and make into beautiful home decor. So in today's video, it is Christmas season. It is the winter season here in Michigan. It's winter around a lot of places. But anyway, I have a stash of salvage finds and some very yummies that I have been saving just for this time of year, and I am going to be able to create with them and make some amazing decor and share the process with you all. Oh yes, please. An old chippy door front. Love it. It is amazing. I wonder what color it is underneath because you can't tell from the back because that's wood. But is it going to be cream? Am I going to be able to get it cleaned up white? I love the pole on it. We're going to leave that. Love the chippiness, but we just need to get it cleaned up, and let's see what color it is underneath. Sometimes the dirt comes off, sometimes the dirt stays. You just never know. So I'm just using a hot bucket of water with some Dawn dish soap, and we're just going to start scrubbing and seeing what's underneath. Oh, but I am definitely loving what I'm seeing. And sometimes when it's chippy like that, you know that you might be losing some of your chippiness as you're washing it off. But I think there'll be plenty left. It looks like it's a nice aged white color. Is that perfectly imperfect? Just the way I love it. And I know many others watching love that too. Does not bother me that it has a big gouge in it. It just adds character. I've got it washed, dried, and now I'm going to take the air compressor to get any of the dirt out of those little corner areas, and then that'll remove any more chippiness also. So you can see where the water pooled up. Just a little extra I like to do to make sure that I get as much of the chippiness off that I can. Nothing like buying something and have the chippiness in your hand, though I love it and makes it more authentic to me. Last step before starting to create on it is just wiping down that back. Nope, I don't have to deal with any chippiness there. I just want to get the layers of dirt off. Was just lucky enough to score some vintage skates at a recent auction. Are they not beautiful? They're a little worse for wear, but they're old, folks, so they're not going to be perfect. Now, one has a heel thingy on it and one doesn't, so I don't know, I'm going to take it off because I rather have it make a matching set, and the leather is so brittle. As beautiful as that salvage door is and those skates are, I want to add a pop of greenery. And I ended up ordering greenery this year from a wholesale company for the first time ever because I just couldn't find anything out there that I loved. I guess it gets picked over so soon, maybe in July, I'm not sure. So I bit the bullet and did a wholesale thing. I'm sorry, so I won't be able to link anything for you all. I guess I could order more if they have it, but to sell, but I don't know. I just really loved how full this was. I loved that the pine cones look very realistic, and I knew that I like that swag of 3 on there. It just really, really keeps it full. As I'm working with this, I changed my mind on the set of skates I was going to use. I love that set of skates, but because of the background kind of being that grayish brown there, I thought this pair would match this perfectly. Oh, are these not awesome with that little curly part on the top? Now, I thought I was just going to remove that very dangerous sharp screw, but the screw is what holds the whole metal skate part on. So I ended up, I hated to do it, but I didn't want anybody to get hurt by it. So I'm going to figure out something to tone that down a notch. I'm thinking of what I'm going to do with those very sharp screws. I could not find my wire nips. I don't know where they were. So bolt cutters it is, but these are really strong stems. They're hard to bend. They are just holding a lot of greenery. So bolt cutters it is today. And actually I have to say, as awkward as bolt cutters are and as heavy as they are, they're cutting that wire really easy. Is it a traditional way to do it? Probably not, but it's working. Not say enough about this greenery. I ordered a few different sizes, bunches, These are the longer stems, so to have it swag down, I'm just going to securely try to work my way into the base, the stem of the greenery to staple it on. I don't want you really to see the staple. I kind of want to hide it. So one in the middle and then two off to either side. Now I'd like to make a little festive sign for this, and I need to go over to my stash of pallet wood. Yes, we did have a whole pallet full of pallet wood. My husband works at a pallet company. You can buy it that way, all disassembled. So I'm just trying to match up the color of wood. Yes, there's variants of pallet wood, and it has a variance of color. And then I just need to cut it down to what is the best part of the piece of pallet wood. Kind of like the salvaged door and the old skates. The pallet wood does not have to be perfect, and I'm doing it. I'm like, can I cut some of this very sharp screw off with the bolt cutters? Well, I guess I can. I guess I can. So to make my signs today, I'm going to be using my Cricut to help me along. So I'm just going to measure off to see what size I am working with. So I don't know about you all that have a Cricut. I do the $9.99 fee, a monthly fee, that I have access to a lot of images. So I don't have to worry about purchasing them. I already have that monthly subscription. So now I'm just going in and I want like winter wishes, something to do with winter. If I'm going to make this, I want it to be able to go from the day after Thanksgiving to into the new year. I love to do Christmas things, but I do also love to make things that you can keep out a little bit longer for the season. So I'm just kind of looking for bits and parts that I like, and then if I like it, I'm going to go ahead and put it onto my mat. And not necessarily do you have to keep the whole image that you're looking at, but I'm just going to take a little bit more gander to see if there's anything else I like. Now my board really isn't that big to squish that hole in there. And then with the leaves, I think the leaves are a little newer, kind of fontish like, I guess you'd call it. Yeah, and I have a helper who's pretty sure that he can help me pick out a better font. But anyway, so let's get back back to what I was doing. So you can actually hide and get rid of items on the whole package that you don't want. So I just want winter wishes. So I want to get rid of the leaves and I want to get rid of the worm, because to me this is more of an old-timey, antique, primitive look. So the greenery on there is just a little too newer for me on this piece. It works for other pieces, just not for what I envisioned today. So all you do is go in and hit the little eyeball and it hides it for you. Oops, I hit the wrong one, but I can go back in and I can put it back on, and then I will get rid of the worm so I have the wording that I want. You can also just go into your text and create also, which is perfectly fine. Fine. You know, my helper's, he's so helpful. Now I like to cut my stencil out as close to lettering as I can get. Just for me, the eyeballing of center is a little bit easier. The one thing about using palette wood and not sanding it smooth is that vinyl does not want to really stick on it at all. But I'm just using it as a stencil, so it's going to take me a little time to pull it off the transfer tape, especially those wee parts. But no, it doesn't really want to stick by any means. The surface is too rough. But I'm determined. I just want to use it as a stencil, so I'll just, even though I speeded this up, yeah, you just gotta take your time. Before I get the comments down below, why didn't I just use cardstock or regular paper? There's still enough sticky on it that it does stick, especially when it comes to those little bitty parts. So trying to use cardstock or anything that has no sticky whatsoever, this is just what works on palette wood and what I have always done. And I don't mind it. I just have to have patience. For my color, I'm going to use Fusion's Parchment. I love that Fusion has the primer, the paint, and the top coat all in one, so I only have to go over this once. So I'm just using a makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree store and then just dry brushing it on. Just a little bit of paint on there that palette wood will absorb in it. It doesn't have to be, it's supposed to look worn anyway, so you don't want to have it like this pristine lettering anyway. Now we can go ahead and complete this. Now I wanted to use some ribbon. I just love the look of like a coordinating color with the paint color of the cabinet door and then something to hang the skates off of. Now this ribbon is from Hobby Lobby, but it's in the sewing section. It's not in with the holidays, it's in the sewing, and I just love it. It kind of reminds me of ticking stripe. I think that maybe, and with it being black, the black is just a neutral for the winter. So there just happens to be where they were probably leather pieces, straps that held onto the shoes. I'm not really sure where that screw would have all come in. That was a long screw. But yes, I'm just going to go ahead and staple that up where I stapled the greenery because the signage is going to go over that. So that's a perfect opportunity to have something nice and tight holding it in place. And when I staple ribbon or anything like that, I staple it one way and then I fold the ribbon over on top of itself and then staple it again just in case it comes loose. Oh, I am loving that ribbon with these shoes and then topping it off with the winter wishes. Oh, doesn't all just coordinate? I'll probably add some more ribbon in there just to give it another pop of color. So now to attach the sign to the door, I am just going to go ahead and use brad nails. Now I needed to make sure that the brad nails that I'm using don't go all the way through and stick out the back. We do many projects around the GCR workshop that you never know what brad nails might be in there. So a quick little look to make sure they're not too long. Actually, they may be too short. And then of course I'm going to have to tweak just a little bit. I want some more of that greenery sticking out. So what I'm doing is I'm stealing some from underneath. There's plenty of piled up. These swags are so full. It's so nice. So I'm just stealing a little bit that are hidden underneath the skates to fill in that like kind of dead space from where the signage to where the ribbon is. And then I'll just use some hot glue to glue that on. Oh, but wait, there's more. So I want to attach the skates completely. So there's a hole in the bottom where the straps were again. And I'm going to put some wire. I'm going to twist a wire around the bottom of it, and then I'm going to staple that in. That way, like if somebody puts this on their front porch, or they put this outside, or, you know, just moving it around, those skates don't swing back and forth, and it all kind of just stays in place. Yes, yes, it would have. It would have been easy to remember to hang a hanging system on the back in case somebody wants to hang this up before I did the whole process. But nope, I didn't. So I'm just adding some eyelet hooks from Amazon and some 17 gauge wire to the back of this. So now I have this cabinet door, I think. I don't know really what it came off of, but it's pretty cool. It's old wood. That's all that matters. But I'd really like it to be chippy paint, and it's not chippy paint. So let's paint it up and make it chippy. But unfortunately, there's always work to do first. So it has a locking system that would have snapped into something. So I need to take that out because that makes it so it doesn't lay flat. I don't need it. The hinges are not complete. One is broken, one doesn't have it, and one is fine. But it's that perfectly imperfect. I'm not going to take the hinges off. I like the character of the hinges. And just that go-to of Dawn dish soap and hot water just to get it cleaned up. So personally, I want the hinges to be a feature you see, not to blend in. So I'm going to take the time to tape them off. Probably should have done that before I washed the piece because sometimes, you know, water gets stuck in there, but I'll make it work. So I want to try to make this as chippy as the other one was with time and naturally. So I'm just using candle wax. I'm just rubbing candle wax. I just have a votive. I've actually used it already a couple times in other projects. And I'm just rubbing it on the entire piece. Not just here and there, just on the entire piece itself. So now my go-to for chippy white paint is usually always a Sweet Pickins milk paint. And I am using the color Flour Sack. Love this white color. It's really a nice vintage color. So all I'm doing is equal parts powder to equal parts water. Give or take, my scoops may be big, heaped up more than my water, but it all ends up working out. You can always add a little bit more water. And then you just stir it for 2 minutes, sit it off to the side, let it thicken up, and then we can proceed on painting. The nice thing about wanting a chippy look at the end is you don't have to have this complete coverage. So as you see, everything's kind of airy. I've got a lot of paint kind of on my brush, and I'm just kind of like fanning it out. It paints differently when you have all that candle wax on there anyway. And I'm just going to be doing one coat. I only need one coat. Now after it dries, you just go back in with a scraping tool, just like you know, spackling something metal or plastic, and it will just start to chip right off. Now usually I like to do this process in the same day, but just things in life happen and I let it actually dry overnight. I do think I get some more chippiness if I just let it dry and then do it the same day. It's a little bit more stuck into the next day, but it still came off and it's still chippy. Now the one thing that it's missing from the first piece that is naturally aged chippy is it's missing dirt. So I'm going to go ahead and add dirt to this. You need to seal the milk paint in anyway, so why not add a little bit of dirt to it? So I'm using Fusion's Antiquing Glaze, and then I'll use some of the Fusion's black wax on top of it to really give it that authentic, it's kind of aged with time look. After removing the tape off the hinges, we can start to create now. Yes, so like I said, I bought a few different swags. The first ones were long. These are a little bit shorter. I kind of wanted to change the direction just because it's fun to try something different. So it's really the same concept of the swag. It just makes a nice swag to have one in the middle, two off to the side. I'm trying to remove the tags. Have you ever bought something or got something and it still had that little plasticky tag on there? So I'm trying to make sure that I get those removed. Honestly, I'm not really trying very hard to find my wire nips because the bolt cutters, as heavy and awkward as they are, they actually cut through this wire really easily. Now I think these skates coordinate with the wood color that's peeking through. The only thing about these skates is they're really long and skinny. So like putting them off to the side, I didn't really like that angle. So I'm kind of tipping them kind of like in a V shape, upside down V shape, but they have a lot of string. So I want to use that string because it's beautiful, it's aged, it's got a wonderful matching patina, there's just a lot of extra. So I'll be able to tie these on using its own string. And there's that little spot on the back where probably a piece of leather was that held the strap, held it to your shoe also, and I'll be able to cut some of this off and use it there. Now I will be stapling the string down, but I'm not quite ready to commit yet. But I'm going to go over and find a board from the pallet wood pile to see what coordinates. And I really like this red piece, even though the sides have water damage on it, I can cut that out and just use the middle. I like that red. That red of this wood goes with the red that's in, that warmth that's in those skates. So this time I searched ice skates, and this is what I got, a whole bunch of shoes. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want shoes. I just want some wording. So I'll take a moment, scroll through, wait for it to load, because I'm scrolling faster than it's loading, to see if there is any wording. I hope there is. I hope I find some wording that I don't have to create my own. I mean, you can go in and text, you know, and change your fonts around, but sometimes looking for fonts, it takes more time than just scrolling through to see if there's any wording already pre-made. So they did have a few, and I chose this one, though I still don't want the skate shoes on there or the snowflakes on there. So going back in and hiding all those little features that I do not want. Now, just because I cut my board to the size I thought I wanted to use, I picked out a wording that may not fit the board, because if I stretch it too much, the letters just really go wonky. So either I have to cut my board down, or I have to figure out different wording or put something extra on my board, because I really like the wording. sign's done, repeat process basically. But now I want to staple these strings on. I want them to be kind of tight so that the skates don't move around. So I'm going to go ahead and add this star, which is made out of clay that is browned. And it is slightly rounded, curved, and so is the board, so they're almost a match made in heaven. And then there's so much space down at the bottom. I have this rusty arrow. It's actually probably a new purchase good that they just made. It's really good rust though. So I thought that would tie in and fill in that space. So my last piece is old board, but it's an old sled. I don't know if it was just always decoration. It has a handle on it. I'm kind of on the fence about the handle because it doesn't really match the rust, but we'll just leave it there for right now. But look at those curves. It is so beautiful. And you wonder why I can't find my wire nips, because the Christmas season upon us, and I am doing a lot of DIYs right now. And yes, I have one more pair of old-timey skates. Oh, they're just so gorgeous. So I think that the colors coordinated with them. My heart is just happy. Old sled, old wood, old shoes. So I'm using the longer swags again of greenery. It's just gorgeous. I mean, it doesn't take, I mean, it just fills it up so nice. So with the sled being so long, the one I'm not even going to cut down. I'm going to use the entire length of it. And when I place the other two on either side, that will cover up that stem. So I'm just going to go ahead and staple that right at the get-go in place. And I did find my wire cutters, but I'm like, no, I'm going back to those bolt cutters just to save my hand. I mean, I know that they're heavy and they're awkward because they're long, but heck, they snip it off in one snip. Now on these skates, both of the leather is still there, and it's not like brittle that it's going to fall apart or anything in your hand. You know, it does do that. They're not an exact match, and the leather straps, maybe they had been replaced, but all I'm going to do is take some larger jute string, and that's what's going to be hanging on this one. But to secure the bottom of the skates, I'm just using some black H wire so you don't really see it, and then just tightening it up, and then I'll bend that wire, and then I'll staple the wire to the board so the skates stay in place. Okay, the handle's going to be in the way. It was kind of in the way when I was stapling anyway. I thought it would be a cool feature, but it's not really. So the handle is going to just be taken off. But I do have that piece of ballot wood. I think that goes wonderful with this. Okay, back to the Cricut I go to find some wording, and I eyeballed this when I was looking earlier. I just like the Winter Wonderland ice skating, but I'm going to change the ice skating and add sled in there just because I'm using a sled, but I have to get rid of, I like the Winter Wonderland feature anyway. So to make my 3 signs, I put a piece of vinyl on a 12 by 24 mat, and I just kept using pieces and parts of it, making sure that I moved it over when I went to cut. That's the big thing to remember. I don't know if anybody ever said weeding was fun, whether it's weeding out your vinyl or your stencil or it's weeding in your gardens. Either way, it's not fun, but it just has to be done. So this one I cut a little close. My board is a little bit bigger just to protect that I don't go crazy when I'm applying paint. I just taped off that area. Then I just started pouncing like there was no tomorrow, forgetting that my vinyl probably really isn't stuck. So I had to put my little insert of my D back, and while the paint was still wet, good thing that we're using palette wood, because all I'm going to do is add more character. When it took my D off and landed into the inside of my D off and landed into the paint, so I wasn't putting that back on. It'll be fine. You know, you got to not stress out about the little things. That's probably why I liked to make things look aged, distressed, that perfectly imperfect, because it takes the stress out. Before putting my sign on, I think I'm going to add a few more little strings of this twine, the jute twine hanging down. I think that'll be a nice little accent feature, nice little neutral. So now with these boards being completely flat where the cabinet doors kind of had that inset there, my sign isn't sitting completely flat. So I chose to kind of tip it off to the side, but the one side, I mean, I'm getting the brad nails in there, but you can still see the airy part of it. I'll just fill that in with some greenery. You know, you always have to tweak things while you're in the process of working on it. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and what did you think? Oh my goodness, old-timey sleds, old-timey skates, amazing greenery. I'm sorry that I finally bit the bullet and actually bought greenery from a wholesaler. That's something I have never done. It is absolutely gorgeous. Every time I go out and search for greenery, you know, greenery is expensive. Man, greenery is expensive. But I love this greenery. I love everything about the greenery, and I wish I could link it for you all, but I can't. So I hope that you can find some amazing greenery. So anyway, I'm sorry about that, y'all. But did I inspire you to create with some old chippy cabinet doors? And if you don't have a chippy cabinet door, just make a chippy cabinet door. Absolutely love the vintage skates, and I'm glad that I could recreate that sled. So again, thanks for watching today's video. As always, have I inspired you to look at secondhand finds in a new way? And if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you're new and you're checking out this content for the first time and you stayed to the end of the video, I think you kind of like it. So go ahead and smash that subscription button along with the like button to let YouTube know you like this kind of content, along with the notification bell so you know we uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye!